in this basket.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
Thank
you.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Hello. So, this is how the author and protagonist of our book, Esme Codell, starts each day with her students.
In the morning, 3 things happen religiously. I say good morning, real chipper, to every single child and make sure they say good morning back. Then I collect troubles in the trouble basket, a big green basket into which children pantomime unburdening their home worries so they can concentrate on school. Sometimes the kid has no troubles. Sometimes the kid piles it in, and I in turn pantomime burying the burden. This way, I too can see what disposition the child is in when he or she enters.
Educating Esme is the diary of a first-year teacher at an inner-city school in Chicago. Esme faces various struggles throughout the book, such as students living in poverty, disengagement from parents, and opposing administration. She employs a plethora of creative solutions to these problems, from roller skating around her classroom to switching roles with students for the day. Esme reveals the raw emotions and struggles that go along with teaching, but also shares her passion and a sense of encouragement for fellow educators to learn from.
So Esme shows her teacher identity in a variety of different ways throughout the book, Educating Esme. One quote that she says is, "I work for the children," so the children are her top priority and they're very important to her. She puts her whole heart and soul into her students, and she works hard to make sure that her students are engaged in learning. So many students were behind in reading and math, so she worked hard to get them all caught up without making them feel stupid by having them do a kindergarten alphabet and that kind of thing. And she spent a lot of time developing innovative and engaging lesson plans so the kids would look forward to enjoying and learning in her class. She's more than just a teacher. She's their mother, their counselor. She cares about them, and she doesn't care what other people think about her, so she's not aiming to please the administration or follow state standards perfectly. She's aiming to create successful, well-rounded students and to help them learn and show them love and care that they have not received at home. She is caring, committed, and culturally aware.
So as we mentioned before, there are 3 themes: caring, cultural awareness, and commitment. And these themes are evident in conversations about being a teacher and also in our novel, Educating Esme. So first we're going to speak about caring. So in conversations about being a teacher, Dr. Michaels and Tanya both discuss how teachers can show the students that they care, and they have to make sure that this care is relational, so students have to be able to know that the teachers care about them in order to feel that genuine connection to their teachers and then flourish and grow from that. So caring and taking that extra above and beyond step for students' well-being separates mediocrity from excellence in the classroom, and Esme is a teacher who definitely strives toward excellence. So both Esme and Tanya demonstrate the care for their students inside and outside the classroom. Esme takes time outside the school day, just showing that she cares for her students in a variety of ways. So some examples of her care is that she bought 31 copies of books, all with her own money, because she knew that the library and the classroom that she was given did not have any books, and she knew that literature was important in helping the students learn, and so she spent her own money on that. Also, she does little journals for her students, and she reads things that are going on in her students' lives, and she heard that it was one of her students' birthday, and so she didn't get a cake for her birthday, so instead she was able to give a cupcake to Melanie, her student, and they sang happy birthday to her, and the quote is, "She looked moved, kind of weird to see in a 10-year-old. Quiet, thoughtful, smiling. She said thank you very nicely, very sincerely. I was glad because I think she understood that I did it because I care about her." And she also teaches her students the golden rule. She says, "You must treat people as you would like to be treated, even in the event that they are ignorant and don't treat you as you would like to be treated." And lastly, she even goes above and beyond the role of a teacher and also becomes the role of a caretaker. She has a student named Asha who brought her 2-year-old brother to school this morning. It says she has no mama, no note, no nothing. So she does this because she doesn't want to tell the administration. She didn't really know what to do, but she didn't want to tell the administration about this because she knew Asha could get in trouble, and she just takes that above and beyond step, kind of risking her own reputation just to take care of the students.
Another core theme in conversations about being a teacher, and also that's a part of Esme's teacher identity, is commitment. In conversations about being a teacher, Dr. Michaels explains how teachers can't be committed to other things if those things take away from their commitment to their students. And he talked about how difficult it is to teach, and how teachers can't give up when they face those difficulties. One of the difficulties that Esme faces is challenges with the school's administration, especially the principal. Several times because of the principal, she considered quitting, but she continued because she was committed to her students. A couple examples of that, of like her being frustrated, was one time when she said that she walked back to her classroom and had a tantrum, throwing some erasers and chalk and crying. But then she said, even if I fail, I have to try and try and try. It may be exhausting, but that is beside the point. The goal is not to succeed, but to keep trying. Throughout the book, you can tell how like exhausted Esme is just after like 1 year of teaching. And at the end of the book, she says, I'm as fried as an egg. My personal relationships have suffered. I'm tired and lonely, but the children have enjoyed a measure of success. So she talks about how like in the end it was all worth it because the kids learned and enjoyed learning, and it was all worth it. And she says this, like illustrates this idea by saying, I overflow with a joyous greed of a rich man counting coins. Wrongly, I've thought teaching has lessened me at times, but now I experience a teacher's great euphoria. 31 children, 31 chances, 31 futures.
And so the third and final teacher identity aspect they're going to focus on is cultural awareness. So in conversations about being a teacher, Tanya learns that it's easy for people to try to make others like themselves and just dismiss their cultural differences as inferior. But it's really important for teachers to not do this and instead embrace the cultural differences of every student, even if it makes it harder to deal with them. And so Esme really embodies this as she encounters many different students from multicultural backgrounds in her inner city schools. She really takes the time to celebrate like their unique backgrounds and make them more comfortable in the classroom, which makes a better learning environment for everyone. So both of them illustrate the idea that the role of a teacher is not only to teach the information, but also to help the students embrace their own identity. So, examples. So a couple examples. There was a new girl, Esther, who is from Haiti, where French isn't the native language. So Esme immediately greeted her in French, "Salut mon ami," which means "Hi, my friend." And Esther immediately, her shoulders dropped, relaxed. Her smile is beautiful and full of mischief. So she was relieved and felt much more comfortable in the classroom, just because of Esme's relation to her culture. And another student, Akila, who's Indian, brought in a sari, and Esme wore it for the rest of the day. And when she called Akila's mom to thank her, she thanked me and said that I helped Akila feel less self-conscious about her culture. So embracing her culture allowed the student to stop being self-conscious about her unique background, even at home. And the next day, multiple other students wore saris, which shows how Esme became a role model for open-mindedness and accepting views of people of different cultures for her students.
Now we're going to explain some of the characteristics that describe our own teaching identities. So for mine, the 2 or 3 of the main aspects that other people use to describe me as a person were compassionate, leader, and caring. And these all show how I've made the decision to be a teacher, and they've helped me make that decision throughout my life. Another one is social from the strong interest survey. That was like one of my main characteristics. And it shows that I have a passion for people, teamwork, helping, and community, and that also falls in line with my lifelong inclination to help people around me. Also, I'm always willing to put others before myself, just like Esme and Tanya were from Conversations and from Educating Esme, and sometimes even to a fault, they would put themselves before others. And I also have a desire to make a positive impact on the world around me. And I have a belief in a growth mindset, so I don't think either students or teachers should limit themselves because of what other people think, like because of race or socioeconomic status or how smart or unintelligent people have labeled them as. And as long as you believe, you can achieve something with hard work and perseverance. And I'm also accepting of all people around me.
So then for my teacher identity, two of the characteristics that people characterized me were caring and empathetic, and they also said I was good at recognizing people's intrinsic values and just recognizing their natural abilities and helping them foster those and just reaching their full potential, and that's what I want to do as a teacher. I want to be inspiring and hardworking in my classroom, and kind of like Esme, even if that takes time away from my personal life, I just want to be better for the students. I want to be passionate and engaged with my students and creative and innovative in the classroom. I want to understand each student's individual learning style and just be able to place myself into their shoes and just help them to learn the best that they can. I want to strive to help each student discover and develop their morals and their values. I want to help them be good students in the classroom, but then also I just want to help them be good people in general, and that's one of the biggest things that I want to achieve, especially with reaching their fullest potential. And one of the best things that I got from the book, one of the quotes was that it's almost a psychotic feeling, believing that part of their lives belongs to me. Everything they become, I also become, and everything about me, they help to create. So I think that's really special, knowing that you're entrusted with these children's lives and that you're called to make a difference in their lives and help them become who they're called to be too.
Okay, so like Esme, I want to be a role model to my students and demonstrate all the positive attributes that they should live their life with. I want to be caring and involved and invested in their success, passionate and energetic, but also patient and listening. Be creative in the classroom and resilient to the obstacles that will inevitably occur. And also engage with every student individually and adaptable, responsive to their individual needs because every student's different. I want to learn as much from my students as they learn from me and foster a productive and creative learning environment, just like Esme did in her book. And I also have a quote here that impacted me the most. They don't tell you it's like joining a monastery or going to hell or sleepwalking or being afraid as you were when you were small. They don't tell you how it feels to hear I hate you or how it feels to say that's okay, I still love you. You have to be everything to them, counselor, mother, friend, on and on. And so here she's talking about how everyone tells you how gratifying it is to be a teacher, but they don't tell you how like a unique and even scary experience it is to get there, and how you have to fulfill so many different roles for every student, and just made me more passionate about fulfilling those roles.
So some of the takeaways I got from Educating Esme and like things that I've learned and want to adapt into like my own teaching identity is that I want to strive to keep my students engaged, and this is kind of illustrating one of my favorite quotes from the book, where she explains how we don't call the subjects in the old-fashioned names in room 211. Math is puzzling, science is mad scientist time, social studies is TTWE, which stands for time travel and world exploring. Language arts is art of language, and reading is free reading time. She did this because she figured kids of this age would come to her with preconceived notions of what they're good at. And I think that's really cool, the way that she kind of like challenged them to think about school in a different way. And that's really what I want to do with my students when I'm a teacher. I also want to be really sympathetic towards my students because as I kind of learned in this book, that like you never really know what's going on in a kid's life at home. And like Esme, I want to work for the students. Esme wasn't scared to like get fired by like standing up for like her students and doing what's right and like helping them like any way she could. Like she was willing to like put her own job on the line for that because she works for her students. And then also to not be afraid or fail or get frustrated is something that Esme really showed. And then giving my all for my students.
So some of the traits that I took away and that I would like to display in my teacher identity as a high school religion teacher, I want to always strive to share my faith with each of my students. So Esme was an awesome role model for her students and they followed her example, and I would like to live out my faith and be an example in that way. I want to be a good listener, and I want my students to be able to come to me and know that they can trust me with anything. And I want to be a caretaker and be compassionate and motherly toward them if they need that. I want to inspire my students to believe in themselves and be the best version of themselves that they can be, which was something that Esme did. There was one example where there was a girl who was stealing things, and Esme acted like her mother in that situation and also got her to stop doing that and inspired her to be a better version of herself. And I want to be authentic and honest and patient with my students and passionate about teaching and about learning new things so I can inspire passion in my students. So now, please join us in singing Some Nights.
This